Well, another spectacular Blue Angels show in the books here at Seafair. A great day it has been so far. And the one thing we're starting to see more and more of out there on the water, boats and people and human beings and all the rest casting shadows. The sun is coming out, burning off these high clouds, just as Morgan Palmer said it would as the day goes on. And we get set for more racing after the air show is all but complete. We have a few more air show acts coming back in a bit, and a couple are just absolutely spectacular, so you want to see them. I'm joined again by Wally Shaver from F1 Racing, and of course Chip Hanauer, hydroplane champion, and so long here in Seattle as one of the great race drivers of his era. Guys, when we talk about F1 coming up, we've got one heat left, and then we've got the final. So, Wally, tell us what we should look for here in this last heat today, and then what's going to happen when those guys go back to the pits to get ready for the final.
Well, first of all, for this last heat, the way they're going to line them up, 1 through 10, is the guy with the least amount of points. Tyler Welch is going to start on the pole. He's the guy that blew up his motor, and you can see right through it from yesterday. They have repaired it, so they've got that set to go. Then as you go down the line, the last two boats, the yellow number 10 of Terry Rinker and the red and black number 16 of Tim Siebold, those are your top two drivers. They'll be starting in the 9 and 10 spots respectively.
So what does that mean, Chip, as the driver, when that flag drops and those guys all bolt from the dock? What does that mean for those drivers?
Well, for Terry Rinker and for Tim Siebold, it means everything, because the championship is going to come down to these next two heats. They're separated by what, 1, 2 points?
2 points right now through the heats.
So these next two, we're about ready. I think we're at the dock, about ready to go racing.
All right, let's turn our focus on that. Watch the two boats.
Now engines are dead stop. The engines are not running.
So welcome back to Seafair Sunday. It is time for F1 racing and Heat 5 in the Graham Trucking Seafair Cup.
Heat 5 of the Graham Trucking Seafair Cup is presented by Ford of Kirkland, your official dealer of Seafair on KIRO 7, and is presented for Seafair by Graham Trucking.
All right, we're giving you a few things to think about here as we get set for the flag to drop on this Heat 5 of F1 Racing. Now we go to the voice of F1 Racing. Here again is Wally Shaver.
Thanks very much, Steve. And you're taking a look now at the lead boat in points. That is Tim Siebold. He has a 2-point lead over Terry Rinker as they get set to go for the last of the heat, and that's going to help determine the setup for the Grand Championship finale of 12 laps duration.
And that's a Seattle-based boat. The boat that Tim Siebold is driving, it's based right here in Seattle.
They go down to the 22nd mark. You'll see the flag come up. Once it's dropped, those guys will hit the ignition switch to turn on the fuel pumps. They'll hit the switch to turn on the motors and hit the gas pedal, and away they go. Late off the start, we see the outside boats. Keep your eyes on them. On the far left of your screen is Terry Rinker. They head down the straightaway, but it's Siebold who has the lead as they come on around. Through the commitment buoy, they have to hold their lanes. It's Chris Fairchild up on the inside in that white number 62. He's been quite fast when he doesn't have a broken propeller. Now they'll come around turn 3 and 4. This is the official start as they cross our start-finish line directly in front of us. Fairchild is in second. Siebold with the lead as they come across the start-finish line for the start of lap number 1.
And you can see Terry Rinker in third. He's got to get past Greg Foster to get at Tim Siebold. Again, this is for the national championship, folks.
1 point per position from first down through the 10th spot. So right now, a 2-point lead for Tim Siebold. That's momentarily.
And it doesn't look like Terry Rinker is able to gain on Foster or Tim Siebold.
There they are, 1, 2, 3. That the fourth place boat is the blue number 30. That is Rob Rinker, Terry's son. Trying to get his feet wet here in, well, hopefully not too wet, but get that experience and some teat time under him for the future. Siebold coming on down the straightaway, and there's the number 21 boat of Jose Mendana, the series president.
And that's, what is it? Oh, okay. You know, it looks like Tim Siebold really has got this in the bag. But we thought that on the first heat yesterday, and he barrel rolled it, so anything can happen.
And that's the problem they have right now. They want to be very careful on these opening laps, Chip, because as we saw yesterday, once that Blue Angel show was over, a lot of boats leave the area here, and it creates some small rollers. It's exactly what happened to Tim yesterday. He came across the top of one of those rollers, dipped his white sponson, and just did a total barrel roll.
And no matter what Tim Siebold does here, he can't walk in the championship.
No, this will not do it for him unless we have some problems with the Rinker boat, Terry Rinker's boat, and he finishes way back. But currently, a good solid third place run being exhibited by Terry Rinker.
Terry Rinker in the yellow boat, currently in third, has won the past 4 consecutive national championships. He's got to stay close to Tim to make it a fifth.
And Tim Siebold is no slouch himself. He's the winningest driver on the circuit. He's picked up 6 career titles overall, and he's won 2 of the 3 previous Seafair races here.
And comes from powerboat racing royalty. The Siebold family, Bill Siebold, his father, an amazing, maybe the best boat racer ever, and he came from Bill Sr.
Yes, and 75 years of boat racing in this family.
They built boats, they built propellers, they built engines, they drive. They're the real thing.
And right now, Tim Siebold looking very sharp here. Chris Fairchild is a close second in that white number 62 boat, followed by the number 10 yellow boat. There's a good look at Fairchild as he goes around these pins. And what's unique about this type of racing too, Chip, we've talked about it, they're making left and right-hand turns. It really puts some extra strain on these drivers. And when they're going through these turns, they're putting forth 3 to 4 Gs on some of these turns.
I think I heard you say, Wally, that these are the fastest turning land-based vehicles on the planet. Yes,
they are. The only thing that really exceeds this is what we saw out of the Blue Angels earlier, as far as that up to 10 Gs of gravity that they have to go through. But Tim Siebold right now looking very sharp in his boat. Good speed, and this is a long straightaway too, so he can really pick up some speed. But he's coming down the front chute right in front of us right now, heading into first, that left turn, which we'll see here shortly. And then he's going to have to make a sharp right-hand turn. You see how he settles the boat down, trims it down just a bit, gets on around, trims it right back up, so he gets on plane and gets that airflow going between those sponsons that are 4 feet apart and gets that lift out of the water, reducing the drag on the boat.
You know what I can see happening is Chris Fairchild, he might be the guy that determines the championship, because he's not in the championship race, but he's certainly as fast as either of these 2 boats. Where he finishes compared to Tim or to Fairchild, that could determine the championship.
It certainly could. It certainly could. Lap traffic now becoming an issue. That means the drivers, they're all in radio communications with spotters up in the tower. So they got an idea where they are, but still, you don't know. You have to get around these guys the right way, and you still have weights to be concerned about. But the top 3 boats now have gone past the lap traffic.
We talked yesterday about these boats. They do a 24-hour around-the-clock race in Rouen, France, just outside of Paris. Really rough cement bulkheads on both sides of the Seine. I can't imagine running these boats 24 hours through the night.
Well, I was talking to Chris Fairchild. He's had the opportunity to run that in the past, and I don't know how you do it. Stamina has just got to be one thing, especially when you consider the G-force that you're experiencing in these boats. Tim Siebold, the winningest driver all time in Formula One racing.
You know, the difference between driving the Formula One boats and the Unlimiteds is one is light and nimble, and the other, the Unlimited, is like racing a freight train. 6,000 pounds in an Unlimited. What do these weigh, Wally?
They're 1,150 is all. They're very lightweight, up to less than a Volkswagen.
So I would say that the power to weight ratio, the amount of horsepower per weight, is probably greater in a Formula One boat than it is in an Unlimited hydroplane.
Well, it very well could be, and I do know that they're turning props at a 1.2 to 1.4 ratio from the engine back to the propeller itself through the gearbox. They're turning 8,600 RPM in these boats, extremely high RPMs, so you can just imagine the force that that's putting on the propellers.
Tim Siebold, who you're watching right there, he's had an amazing weekend. He's crashed, he's broken, it looks like he's going to win a heat and could win the championship. So he has had quite a drama in these last 2 days.
Grabs a white flag as they're on the final circuit around this 1.6-mile circuit. 6 pins determining this one on the course itself. Nice aerial shot of Tim Sebold. You'll watch how tightly he's going to take this next turn as he goes into 1 and 2. Very sharp and close to the pins. That's the way he's been driving this whole race. Chris Fairchild back behind him in second place, followed by the third place yellow boat of Terry Rinker. There you see Fairchild on the right of your screen, your race leader up on the left side of your screen.
You know, Wally, it doesn't look like anybody's been able to close the gap. This looks like lap 1. They pretty much stayed where they started in lap 1.
Exactly.
So that tells me that the start in the final is going to be everything.
Checkers are in the air. Number 16, Tim Sebold crosses the line in first. Chris Fairchild in second. And third place, the yellow number 10 of Terry Rinker, the defending 4-time national champion. But now he falls 2 points further behind Tim Sebold, so it's a 4-point difference. When they get into that championship race, each position is a 5-point separation. It's basically a 2-boat shootout to determine the national champ.
And it looks to me the boats are dead even. So I think it's going to come down to, you correct me if I'm wrong, Wally, but it looks like who gets off the dock the best and who gets around that first pin could be the national. That could decide the national championship.
Well, and Chip, I would be sure that once these guys, they've figured it out this course now after 5 heat races this weekend. They know which props they want. They know how their engine setup should be. They know what the humidity conditions are. So they've been able to dial all that into their equipment right now. They're ready to go.
And the boat you're looking at right now that Tim Sebold is in, that was rolled over yesterday. So they're obviously very strong. Came back from that. They had some engine problems. Actually, the fuel line came off.
Came off after that rollover in that second heat, and their crew was not aware that that happened. You might remember, folks, if you watched these guys last year, his boat caught on fire. He's lucky it didn't catch on fire again yesterday.
Well, this final is going to be great because there's so much at stake. Both boats are dead even. You saw in the background there, I think that's like Chris Fairchild. When the winner wins, he stands the boat up on the back, and it looks like a horse on its rear legs, and that's kind of the traditional show-off that I won the race, correct?
Then we've got a little shout-out, too, that we have to leave for Mike McClellan. He's a lone Canadian in this race. He's from Kelowna, BC. He said there's a whole bunch of people in Kelowna watching this race live on KIRO today. But there he is, Tim Sebold. Continues to win. Great team. The one thing that they've got going for them with all that experience, Chip, is they are a well-financed team. They also have very good equipment, but that race experience, there's just no secondary option for it, is there?
We're going to get a chance to actually talk to Tim Sebold, which is going to be interesting because he's been through such drama these last few days. It's really going to be interesting.
I saw him first thing this morning down in the pits. I said, you know, everything right with the boat now? He says, yeah, he's a little grumpy, but he had his race face on at 7:30 this morning. He was ready to go.
Yeah, and we understand that he was pretty angry yesterday after the crash. Did you ever find, was he angry at himself? Did he feel somebody cut him off? Was he angry at the boat? What was he angry about?
No, he was in clean water at that time, and just I think it was just an unfortunate thing. It upsets you because, you know, your 11-point lead in the national championship race suddenly got cut in a very big hurry, making it a very critical day today with this final heat race and then the upcoming championship tilt later on.
You know, you'd mentioned our Canadian viewers and pulling for the Kelowna driver. I'm sure we have a lot of Canadian viewers pulling for Jean Thierret in the unlimited class. So Canada, stay with us. You could have a champion here.
And we might want to point out again, we are hoping to be able to talk to Tim Sebold, although Tim is finding himself seated in his boat here. These boats, unlike unlimited hydroplanes, don't pull all the way up to a dock. They have to be moved over close to shore, and then they are taken out of the water. So these guys kind of ride with it. They don't want to just jump out in knee-deep water as the crew members are waist-deep water as they're standing in now.
Yeah, as a driver, I always like to make sure my crew members got completely soaked,
right,
that I was dry and comfortable all day long.
Our Alexa Smith, normally we'd send her in after Tim and let her wade out there, but we thought she's still got a long afternoon of work ahead of her. We didn't want her to do that. So Tim is getting closer to shore, and hopefully we'll be able to hear from him in just a couple of minutes as to his thinking in this final heat, and now what his thinking is as he gets ready to go in the finals. We will again continue to work toward Tim Sebold's comments, but right now here are the unofficial results in Heat 5 of the Graham Trucking Seafair Cup. Tim Sebold Chris Fairchild and Terry Rinker. Those are the results in Heat 5, brought to you by Ford of Kirkland, your official dealer of Seafair on KIRO 7.
Heat 5 of the Graham Trucking Seafair Cup is presented by Ford of Kirkland, your official dealer of Seafair on KIRO 7, and is presented for Seafair by Graham Trucking.
And congratulations again to Tim Siebel and the number 16 NGK spark plug machine. Currently in first place by 4 points going into our championship final a little later on. That's your photo finish, brought to you by Muckleshoot Casino, the biggest and best in the Northwest.
And I can promise you the cameras will be out to get pictures of our vintage boats out on the water. The Miss Wahoo is one. We'll come back and have more on the other side of the break. This is the Albert Lee Appliance Seafair Cup.
You're watching the 2015 Albert Lee Appliance Seafair Cup, presented by Ford of Kirkland, your official dealer of Seafair on KIRO 7.
It's hard to pass up a great value. ARCO meets top-tier quality standards, but at a better price. ARCO, quality top-tier gas for less.
In a world, in a not-too-distant city, there is a celebration set on the sea with a snow-covered mountain backdrop. Hydroplanes scream across the water, ships parade through the sound. Wakeboarders soar while Blue Angels boom through the sky. Down the road in Kirkland, there is a dealer with the largest inventory in the Northwest and a sincere commitment to the inimitable beauty of this area and our community. Now, Ford Hyundai of Kirkland has joined forces with Seafair with this unforgettable Seafair weekend.
We're the official automotive sponsor of Seafair. We've always loved celebrating this special weekend in our beautiful state.
And we want to keep Washington beautiful. That's why we're offering amazing deals on Sonata hybrids.
Right now, you can get an all-new Sonata hybrid starting at $17,475. For more information, call or visit us today at HyundaiofKirkland.com.
When you have big plumbing problems, you need superhuman solutions.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Wait a second, aren't you?
Marshawn Lynch, stop freaking.
Call Beacon.
Beast mode.
What can I do for you?
Oh, I think it's just clogged.
Here's the problem right here. What's next?
I think we're gonna have to take the whole toilet out.
Got it. What's next? You all good here.
So go with Seattle's winning team and go beast mode on your plumbing problems.
Hey, wait. Stop freaking. Call Beacon.
Sometimes the best value is right in front of you. ARCO meets top-tier quality standards, but at a better price. ARCO, quality top-tier gas for less.
Take a look at this. This Seafair is nothing if it's not history. And it goes back, the 65th race in the Seafair Regatta, and these two boats, the vintage boats on the water now, the Wahoo and the Oberto Classics, restored by the Hydro Museum in Kent. They do a fabulous job. And I'll bring both Mark Allen and Chip Hanauer in, because Chip drove in boats similar to this, not quite this age group, but he drove in boats with the engine in front, the piston power in front of him. And then, Mark, just the history of seeing these boats restored and out on the water.
And these are really two different generations. We're looking at the 75 Oberto, or the boat that has been restored to the livery of the 1975 Oberto, which was the first year that Oberto started to sponsor hydroplanes on the Unlimited circuit. And so this commemorates 40 years of their being a sponsor of Unlimited hydroplanes.
And while we're talking about that and showing the Oberto, let's also mention that Art Oberto, the namesake for the sausage-powered boat, got a ride first and only time, as I understand it, in one of his boats on Friday. And we've got some pictures of that. As Art got in the boat, was it Dave who was driving?
David Williams.
Dave Williams was driving from the museum, and he had Art in the boat with him, and it was so touching. There he is, the orange helmet. 88 years young is Art Oberto with the wave.
He's driving with one hand.
You know what's also significant is the corporate might of our region.
Yep.
Those boats, the Wahoo, was built by the Boeing family, who came here as a lumber company, and I think they turned into airplane company. And there's Alberta, you know, local sausage company. So before we had Amazon and Microsoft, these boats represent our corporate heritage.
You know, a lot of people out there, Chip, and those who are the ones who go way back with these boats, they miss that sound, they miss the piston power, but the sport has moved ahead just as every sport has with the technology of turbines and all the rest. What's the next technology? Where's boat racing going?
Well, that's a question in racing all the time. NASCAR, for example, hugely successful as a racing circuit, but they have kept technology out to keep the competition good. You look at Formula One car racing, Mercedes is winning everything because that's the most wide open technology in racing. So it's a balance of good technology, but not technology that's so far out that one person can get an advantage. Now you see the black smoke coming out of there. That's called being in a rich state. The engine's got a little more fuel than it can actually burn. And that engine, that's an Allison V12. That engine helped win World War II. Was it the P-51? Was it in other planes, Mark, besides the P-51?
Well, they were the Rolls Merlins were just a little bit bigger, but they were in the Spitfires in Britain, and then all of a sudden they kind of all became the same and sort of mix and match. But the Allisons had a long life. The last Allison came off the production line in 1946.
Wow. So they're still in use, still operational, at least in some of these boats. And Chip, that's where a lot of this equipment came from, right?
It did. The engines, the turbine engines that we're seeing race now, those are vintage engines too. Those were first developed in the 50s, and they fought in the Vietnam War era. They were the helicopter engine in a helicopter they referred to as the Jolly Green Giant, had big twin rotors, had twin engines. So, you know, it looks like after war, racers grabbed the surplus engines and turned them into something.
As we see the Alberto boat go back to the docks, we were seeing it just a moment ago, and of course, every time I mention it, you know, the picture's going to change. What is going to change for the sport with somebody like the Alberto?